Hey guys, welcome back to Ace Recaps. Today I'm going to be explaining a 2023 Korean apocalyptic adventure film titled Concrete Utopia. Just like many other big cities in the world, in the city of Seoul, the desire to own a home has led to an increase in apartment complexes. A newscaster explains how apartment living has transformed South Korean society. They help people quickly upgrade their lifestyle, but people just wanted to keep upgrading to bigger apartments to keep up with the trend. The profitable trend turned the entire city into a concrete jungle. A massive apocalyptic earthquake destroys the entire city, but only one apartment building remains standing. As a few days go by, we watch as the injured people of the city gather around the building. Min-sung gathers necessities while his wife Myung-hwa scavenges around their home looking for food. Both of them reassure each other that they will get through this and hope for help to come soon. As people walk through the ruins to get to the apartment building, we see the aftermath of the earthquake. Min-sung hears a knock on the door where a woman seeks refuge for her son and herself, so the couple lets them crash there for the night. The next morning, Min-sung tries to buy some food in the lobby, but nobody accepts cash anymore, so he exchanges his watch for some canned food. The apartment is overrun by outsiders, as it's too cold for anyone to survive beyond the walls. He shares the food with his wife but pities the kid living with them and gives him some as well. While walking around the building, they notice a man being stabbed and kicked out of his apartment by the outsiders. Out of nowhere, a fire breaks loose, and Young-hun, a resident of the building, manages to turn on the hose and stop the fire from burning down the building. Everyone around is thankful for his bravery, and the man claims to live on the 9th floor along with his mother. All the residents of the building decide to meet up and figure out a solution to the infestation of the outsiders. Chae-won takes charge of the meeting, and after a lengthy discussion, they decide to drive out the outsiders as there's not enough space or resources for all of them to survive. They realize that they need a leader to get them through this hard time, and through a unanimous vote, Young-hun gets appointed. Myung-hwa, being a nurse and with a natural instinct to help people, seems concerned about the well-being of the outsiders. As she goes to feed the boy living with them, Min-sung has a flashback. As the first wave of the earthquake hit, a woman was trapped under a truck, and he tried his best to get it off of her. When the second wave came their way, everyone ran in fear, but Min-sung stayed back until the last moment. He got into a car and watched as the woman begged him to help her out. After the earthquake, everything around was destroyed, but luckily Min-sung survived. In the present, Young-hun appoints Min-sung to head the crime task force. The residents come together for another meeting and come up with a plan to evacuate the outsiders. Later that evening, an announcement is heard requesting the outsiders to gather, promising them a place in the empty apartments. As they wait, the men come out with weapons and shields. Young-hun tells them all to find another place to live. A fight breaks out, but the residents manage to hold their ground. The others start throwing down pots from their homes and manage to drive away the outsiders, leaving the women and kids without a roof over their heads. The residents celebrate their victory and thank Young-hun for his bravery. In the next scene, we watch a well-organized colony going through their daily routine. A board informs the residents of the rules that the apartment follows. Everyone is appointed various different tasks for the smooth running of the colony. Some of them build a wall around the building, some take care of the wounded while some gather food from the ruins. They even set up a toilet outside and teach the others how to dispose of waste. Chae-won advises everyone on how to run the facility, and they all seem to lead happy lives. As a few weeks go by, we watch as the men scroll through the destroyed city looking for food. They come across many people who froze to death because they were kicked out of the building. By this time, most of the food they find is full of mold and is unconsumable. Many days go by, and every time they search through the remains of the city, they come back empty-handed. Everyone is weak and hungry, but they try to remain positive as they keep looking for food day after day. One night, as Young-hun and Min-sung are busy having a conversation about their next plan of action, Myung-hwa is seen sharing their little remaining food with the outsider kid from earlier who's been living with one of the residents along with his mother. The group goes on their lookout and comes across one grocery store that hasn't been affected by the earthquake. Just as they celebrate, the shopkeeper comes out with a gun. Well, that's one way to greet customers. The shopkeeper didn't get the memo that customer satisfaction usually involves discounts, not firearms. Min-sung manages to ambush him and in anger the group kills the innocent man. While his wife and child cry over the death of the shopkeeper, the group clears out the grocery store and starts their journey back to the apartment. When some survivors living on scraps come across the group, they flee like rats, making the group feel powerful and invincible. That night, the people of the apartment celebrate their victory with a grand feast. As they're drinking and partying, a woman in bad shape shows up to the apartment. She claims to be a resident of the 9th floor who hadn't been home for a while. After verifying her identity, Young-hun welcomes her to the group. In a flashback, we watch as Young-hun waits in the apartment for a resident. He was duped by this man for his entire life savings, and the both of them get into a fight. Young-hun ends up choking and killing him while his paralyzed mother begs him to stop. Just as he's on a call with his wife and daughter, the earthquake strikes, killing both of them. Young-hun continues to live there as a resident and claims the apartment as his own, even taking care of the old woman. As the rations are distributed among the residents, Myung-hwa takes her share and gives it to the outsiders living in the building. On her way back, she is spotted by Young-hun but ignores him and gets back to her apartment. Young-hun waits for his neighbor to arrive and forces himself into her apartment. He attempts to subtly inquire whether she remembers him, but she tries to run away. As she lives right next to his apartment, he is concerned whether she was close to the person he killed, but she denies ever talking to the people living there. Once he leaves, she runs up to Myung-hwa and tells her about the incident, even claiming that he was never her neighbor. She says that even though she wasn't close to the people next door, one day when she dropped off a package, she clearly remembers her neighbor as he was a creep who hit on her. Later that evening, a commotion is heard. When Young-hun is called out, we see that one resident was murdered by the outsiders. In a fit of rage, the group goes up to one of the apartments, finds the kid and his mother living there, and throws them out of the apartment and into the cold. When Min-sung figures out that his wife was helping the outsiders, he is terrified of what might happen to them if they get kicked out too. He runs up to Young-hun and begs for his forgiveness. As retribution, the next day Min-sung is in charge of going up to every apartment and looking for more outsiders. They drag them all out and one by one throw them onto the streets. The residents housing the outsiders are made to kneel and beg for forgiveness in front of the others. Not being able to bear the cruelty, one of the residents does the unthinkable, shocking the rest of them. As a few more weeks go by, they start running out of food once again. As they go out into the ruins looking for more, Min-sung is forced to risk his life and crawl through a tiny opening. He gathers his courage and does as he's told and luckily comes across a cafeteria with a month's worth of food. The team gathers as much as they can and head back. At the apartment, still mad about the past, Myung-hwa along with the new girl looks around Young-hun's apartment for clues. They come across a sealed washing machine and on opening it, are shocked to discover the remains of the previous owner. As the team is walking back home, they are ambushed by the outsiders. They try their best to fight them off but end up losing all their food and a few people. As they finally get back, Chae-won starts blaming Young-hun for the death of her son. Myung-hwa walks out and shows everybody what she found in his apartment. Everybody turns against Young-hun, but he claims to have always done what is best for the people of the apartment. As they work together and kick him out, Young-hun finds the girl that revealed his secret and pushes her off a cliff. Pissed off, Min-sung walks out with a gun ready to kill Young-hun. Just then, the outsiders working together ambush the place. A lengthy fight between the two groups takes place. Min-sung gets stabbed trying to protect his wife, and the both of them manage to flee the premises. The outsiders win the battle and kill all the residents, finally taking over the apartment. Min-sung and Myung-hwa walk through the ruins. As he isn't able to walk anymore, they rest in an abandoned church for the night. The next morning, when Myung-hwa wakes up, she is devastated to find that her husband is no more. As she is in tears, a group of people spot her and take her along with them. The movie ends as we watch Myung-hwa being welcomed into a new humane community and being offered some rice to eat. That's all folks, thank you for watching. If you like the video please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.